On the dining room table, next to the body of Joseph Hertgen, police found a plate and eating utensils smeared with blood. A small cup, filled with what appeared to be blood, sat nearby. When officers detained his older brother, Matthew, he had scratches on his hands and a chillingly simple explanation. He said he had gone into, quote, a fit of madness maybe like 40 minutes ago. On February 22, 2025, a gifted young man was murdered in his Princeton, New Jersey apartment. The act of violence was brutal, shocking the affluent Ivy League community to its core. The alleged killer was the last person anyone might have suspected, his own brother. This is the story of the Hertgen family, and how a seemingly perfect all-American life unraveled into an unimaginable tragedy. The Hertgen family was, by all accounts, successful and well-regarded. After moving from a $1.1 million home in Toms River, they settled into a luxury condo complex in Princeton. The patriarch, David Hertgen Sr., was the president and chief financial officer of a high-tech firm with revenues in the tens of millions. The sons, Matthew and Joseph, were accomplished athletes, known for their skill in soccer at both the high school and collegiate levels. The younger brother, Joseph, was a standout player for the University of Michigan from 2016 to 2019. He was a three-time academic All-Big Ten honoree who, after graduating from the Ross School of Business, began a promising career as an analyst in asset management. His life appeared to be on a clear path to success. Matthew, the older brother at 31, also played college soccer at Wesleyan University. His former coach described him as very intelligent, great grades, very talented. Before the events of February 2025, his only known encounter with the law was a DUI in 2017. It was a detail that made the later charges against him all the more perplexing. The brothers were believed to be roommates in the upscale Michelle Muse apartments in Palmer Square. But beneath this idyllic facade, a crisis was quietly escalating. The tragedy that unfolded was deeply connected to Matthew Hertgen's long battle with his mental health. According to his surviving brother, identified in court documents as DH, Matthew had suffered from a severe mental illness for the past 5 years. This wasn't a sudden break, but the devastating culmination of a prolonged psychological decline. Months before the murder, this internal struggle manifested in his writing. Matthew posted a violent and disturbing poem on social media. The verses contained unsettling references to knives sharpening and arrows whizzing. It was a chilling window into a pattern of developing dark thoughts, suggesting his ideations were not spontaneous. On the very day of the murder, Matthew's condition was acute. His brother, DH, said Matthew was extremely distressed, despondent, and experiencing terrifying visions. DH spent several hours with Matthew that evening, trying to help him navigate his crisis. A little over an hour later, at 11:16 p.m., Matthew Hertgen called 911. He identified himself and reported a fire and a dead body inside the apartment. The deceased, he said, was his brother, Joseph. During the call, he told dispatchers Joseph had been dead on the dining room floor for 30 to 40 minutes, placing the time of death between 10:30 p.m. and 10:46 p.m., a narrow and tragic window immediately following his family's attempts to help. When Princeton police arrived, Matthew Hertgen met them at the door. Inside, they were confronted with a scene of profound violence. Joseph Hertgen was on the dining room floor, surrounded by a large pool of blood. He had suffered blunt force trauma to his head and a major laceration to his chest and abdomen. The probable cause affidavit noted with chilling detail that Joseph's right eye was not visible. One police source even made the horrifying allegation that Matthew ripped out his eyeball and ate it. The extreme brutality suggested a severe psychotic episode, an act driven by delusions rather than rational intent. The weapons believed to have been used were a knife and a golf club. A blood-soaked golf club was found lying near Joseph's body. The tragedy also extended to the family pet. The cat was found dead in the living room, having suffered blunt force injuries and been partially burned. Upon being detained, officers saw abrasions on Matthew's hands. It was then he made his spontaneous statement about having a fit of madness, a crucial early indicator of his state of mind. Matthew Hertgen was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, third- and fourth-degree weapons offenses, and third-degree animal cruelty. After his initial statement at the scene, his demeanor shifted. When transported to police headquarters and read his Miranda rights, he provided no response and sat in silence. This marks the beginning of a legal battle that will almost certainly center on his mental health. Legal experts anticipate his defense will request a mental health examination. This is supported by his fit of madness statement, his brother's testimony about his long-term illness and visions, and his violent poetry. In a strategic move, Matthew consented to be detained and waived his right to a bond hearing, allowing his defense time to prepare. If convicted of first-degree murder, he faces 30 years to life in prison. As of March 2025, he remains detained while the investigation and legal proceedings unfold. The murder of Joseph Hertgen is a profound tragedy that shattered the image of a perfect all-American family. It serves as a stark reminder that severe mental illness can have devastating consequences, regardless of socioeconomic status or outward signs of success. The rapid escalation of Matthew's crisis, despite his family's awareness and attempts to intervene, highlights the immense challenge of managing such conditions. The case leaves a community and a family grappling with a devastating loss. As the legal system seeks to determine culpability, the story of the Hertgen brothers remains a quiet, haunting reflection on the hidden struggles that can lead to the most unthinkable of tragedies.